Okay, everyone, Terry here again. Going to continue this book review, Priscilla's book, Softly as I Leave You. And we're going to start at chapter 4, Saying Goodbye. It begins with her worrying about Elvis since he had made comments about dying young like his mother, and he couldn't take it if Vernon went first. She talks about how his health had gotten bad at age 40, and she went to a show and saw how bad he looked and struggled with the song lyrics. And she also got on the subject of pills where no one could talk to Elvis about it, as you didn't cross that line. He justified the pills since they were prescription pills and not illegal drugs. She said that he was even taking Gladys's pills well before he was in the Army, since she had been hospitalized different times for depression, as Elvis was taking some of her pills to make him sleep. And he also tried to get Priscilla to take some pills. Again, she mentions Linda Thompson and taking care of Elvis and how his health went downhill after Linda and him split up. When Priscilla was back at Graceland with Lisa Marie, Elvis was into astrology, the book of numbers, and had charted their ideal path in life. It was like the old days of Elvis reading to her late at night, and Elvis was obviously in poor condition, and this would be the last time that she would see him alive, and it was also the last kiss and embrace. She brings up the June 1977 tour. The last time she actually talked to Elvis was August 14th, 1977, only 2 days before he died. Lisa Marie was there, and he was focused on telling Priscilla all about the new tour coming up, and he was excited and sounded good on the phone with a clear voice. He was also laughing like the old Elvis. They had had a hard time reaching Priscilla to let her know that Elvis had passed. She was in Los Angeles driving around and meeting her sister for lunch, but when she got home, the phone was ringing and Joe Esposito broke the news to her. And she was totally broken down over it. He was checking to make sure Lisa Marie was okay. Joe sent the Lisa Marie plane out there to pick her up, along with her parents and her sister, Jerry Schilling, and any other close friends, and they flew to Memphis. She mentioned how Elvis's death took the life out of everyone, but mostly Vernon, who pretty much gave up on living after that. She describes the emptiness she now felt after coming back to Los Angeles after the funeral, reflecting on life without Elvis and everything that times had spent, how hard life would be without him. And she didn't go out much and waited a while even to continue her own life. She flew to England and France with Lisa Marie with her. And while visiting a museum in France, Lisa Marie made a comment about who she was in a past life, Marie Antoinette. Priscilla was confused. They soon returned back to Graceland to see Vernon and Minnie Mae, and Lisa Marie had friends who came over to play. Chapter 5 is Keeping the Faith. This is about her spiritual journey and where Elvis and she used to go, different fellowships, including the Self-Realization Mother Center in Hollywood Hills. It connected both East and Western religions, as Elvis was trying to still find meaning in life. She didn't think that was the right place for her, so she continued looking, and through John Travolta, she found Dianetics or Scientology by L. Ron Hubbard, and she began following that. And there she felt she was finding out the answers in life and learning how to deal with problems that she had. And she got Lisa Marie involved with it also to have a support system and to guide her in life. She also worried about Lisa Marie since she had been surrounded by so many of Elvis's group and security to watch out for her, and people began to recognize her, which would complicate things. Lisa Marie didn't know childhood boundaries, as she was bossy to playmates, making comments about Elvis being her daddy, and even though Priscilla told her not to do, she still did it. This made her very unpopular. She had a bad attitude at home, like having to do her homework, and she didn't even want to take a bath. She just didn't want to mind Priscilla, and Priscilla had high expectations for her, like learning French, but she didn't. Priscilla did take her to local parks, even Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm, but they wore disguises when out in public. Vernon died in 1979, and they flew to Graceland to attend the funeral. Minnie Mae died the next year, so Priscilla was concerned about Lisa Marie since she had lost her daddy, grandfather, and great-grandmother so close together. And Vernon was only 63, and I mentioned before that he had given up after losing Elvis. Dodger, or Minnie Mae, was 89 years old. Priscilla discovered that Lisa Marie had a musical talent even when she was only 10 years old. Graceland belonged to Vernon after Elvis died, and then went to Priscilla to take care of, and to Lisa Marie at age 25. By the time Priscilla took over, Lisa Marie's inheritance was now only $500,000, and there had been little money coming in to keep Graceland up and to pay the workers, So it was in big trouble and looked like Graceland would have to be sold. But she was not going to give up. She talked to business professionals and attorneys to keep it up and learn the steps trying to make it work, to turn it into private property, from private property to public property to open to the public. And in the first month, she was able to pay off a lot of debts and started making profit soon afterwards. But the second floor was not to be opened. She wanted to keep some of Elvis's family work in there, and it was soon valued at $100 million. She said she's always felt the presence of Elvis there and tells visitors the same, as he still lives on in Graceland. Chapter 6 is called Suspicious Minds. The chapter begins with her talking about Lisa Marie being a free spirit and later putting her thoughts into music, being insecure also. And she didn't understand how Priscilla actually loved her until later in life, and how Elvis treated her differently. Priscilla was dedicated more to parenting, and now she was the love of her life, but having difficulties through the teen years, as Lisa Marie didn't want to school and didn't even understand why she had to go because she didn't fit in. She felt there was no need for school, and it was boring. Priscilla tried different schools and even tried a private boarding school in Switzerland, but Lisa Marie failed the entrance exam. She actually failed at all schools. She seemed to be wanting to live the old life that she had with Elvis and his friends, and she made bad judgments. She was okay with the girlfriends, but not the boys, as she was attracted to the bad boys, motorcycles, and leather, the rebellious type. Priscilla had a sex talk with her when she reached puberty, but at age 14 she tried to dress sexy. After a big argument, Priscilla decided to teach her a lesson by dressing sexy herself. So she wore the same type of clothes with her belly showing. She went out on the road to act like she was trying to hitch a ride. That did have some effect on Lisa Marie to change some. Priscilla met Mike Edwards during this period, and he was a model. And other than Elvis, she said he's the most handsome man she'd ever seen. They stayed together for 6 years. Her parents didn't like him or trust him. They were suspicious of him. And he did some traveling out of town to work. And Priscilla was insecure, thinking he was messing around, which she found out later that he was doing, but she still didn't want to accept it. He also had a daughter named Caroline. She was just a year older than Lisa Marie, and they became close. That was the four of them together. Julio Iglesias had her fly to Chile to do an interview. They spent some time together there, but she couldn't speak Spanish, so he had to translate. And he tried to have a romantic evening with Priscilla, but she resisted. She thought the relationship with Julio would be something like the relationship with Elvis and be back in the limelight. And Julio respected her decision. About a year later, Priscilla and her mother went to Las Vegas to a Julio Iglesias concert, and he was very nice to them. At a party with Michael, they saw O.J. Simpson. He came over to talk to them, but Nicole remained at the table. And Priscilla asked about Nicole. O.J. more or less told her off and said she's doing fine. And O.J. had a scary, intense look in his eyes. Michael went over to speak to Nicole, and O.J. grabbed him by the neck and lifted him up off the floor and went off telling him to stay the F away from her. Again in the book, Priscilla calls O.J. a murderer. Michael would get crazy when drinking too much, and once at a restaurant where Priscilla's mother and Lisa Marie were also there, Michael went upstairs, came back down in the restaurant, and he was naked except for a napkin covering up his private parts. Lisa Marie was jealous of the attention that Priscilla was giving Michael. Like Priscilla holding hands with Michael, Lisa Marie would hold the other hand. When she was 14, Priscilla had gone on a business trip. Michael went to Lisa Marie's bedroom and thought she was asleep, and he turned the cover back and looked at her in her nightgown. He was drunk, and when confronted, he said he just went to tuck her in. It was said that Lisa Marie had a crush on Michael, and Priscilla told him that she was getting rid of him, and Lisa Marie took up for him and didn't want him to go. Michael had written a book years ago and said that he was interested in Lisa Marie when she was only 12 years old, and he was justifying that, believing it was normal. Priscilla said that if Elvis were alive, that he would have shot Michael. Priscilla said that she had never heard of the molestation until Lisa Marie's writings came out. That Priscilla was confused since her sister Michelle, Michael's daughter, was also living there and knew nothing about it. The chapter ends with Priscilla not being able to discuss the matter with Lisa Marie, so she never made peace with her. So there was never any closure on the molestation. Chapter 7 is acting out. It begins with the end of the relationship with Michael Edwards. By now, Priscilla knew that Lisa Marie was smoking cigarettes and had experimented with alcohol and pot, and cocaine was around also, and she was afraid due to Elvis's problem with drugs that Lisa Marie would follow the same path. She also put her in a private boarding school to be secluded, and there were other celebrity children there. Lisa Marie would be tending during the week and would spend time at home on the weekends. Priscilla began taking acting lessons, but was real shy, and she was intimidated. A lot of the associates were already established actors and actresses. But she later got confident as her training helped her along, and she became serious and decided that she wanted to become an actress. And she got an agent. She was first offered the role to replace Farrah Fawcett on Charlie's Angels, but didn't want to be typecast like Elvis had been. So she didn't take that part, but did take the part on Those Amazing Animals with Burgess Meredith and singer Jim Stafford. She liked the role and describes a lot of the co-stars, which were actually the animals. When the show was canceled, she got a role in the TV series Dallas as Jenna Wade, and she loved this role and was on it for 5 years. She had been warned about certain ones on the show might not accept her, but it wasn't true, and she fit right in. Lisa Marie, however, wasn't doing well in her private school as drugs were available there also. And by her junior year, she was oversleeping and missing classes, and she was also making Fs in all of her classes. Priscilla was afraid the press would find out about her drug use and make a big deal out of it and bring Elvis back into it. She tried another school, and there was also drugs there. At age 17, Lisa Marie was put into drug rehab, Scientology Celebrity Center, and that's where Lisa Marie met Danny Keough, and Danny was into Scientology also. And Lisa Marie's attitude changed after meeting Danny, as she became clean and seemed happy. At 18, Priscilla got her an apartment at Westwood, a few miles from home. And at the end of the chapter, Priscilla talks about how she missed her and how she was overprotected, but at age 18, she just had to let her go. This is the end of this part of the book review. Again, the book Softly As I Leave You by Priscilla Presley, and I'll be finishing this up in future videos. Thank you again for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel, and thank you very much.